Hello and welcome back to the channel. The topic I'm going to be sharing with you today is well beyond interesting. This topic is one of those things that I think more people should talk about. But from what I've been noticing and I've been seeing, it seems like people are afraid to talk about this. It seems as if they are afraid. I'm getting into this for obvious reasons because we all see what has happened with and in the Black community. We all also know that some things have been taking place for a long time. Again, things folk don't want to talk about because it makes some people uncomfortable. It implicates some people in some things, but the truth is coming out and it needs to. The truth is long overdue. It needs to come out. People need to hear it. Okay. So you all see the title there. Before diving into this, I am going to ask you on this particular video to please share. Share this broadcast. It is a topic that needs to be understood. It's a topic that needs to be talked about. Again, I know folk are afraid to talk about certain things because there are groups of people on this planet who literally are not fair nor right towards a lot of other people. As a matter of fact, they are known for trying to bury the truth about history. Y'all know what I mean? I'm going to be sharing with you all a report that some of you may have been exposed to already. You may have already heard it. But I'm going to let you listen to it in a way so you can get the fullness of it. The report outlines and details how deep pockets, industry people, non-melanated people, they saw an opportunity to make money off of the destruction of the Black family structure, off of a young Black generation. They saw an opportunity to make money and they took it. So many of you are not going to be surprised at what I'm going to be sharing with you. Okay? But sometimes it's good to hear these things and remind ourselves that we actually had a hand with the Black community getting to where it is now. Those who have studied us for decades, they studied us for decades and they said, you know what? We have got to watch this thing unravel. Not only watch it unravel, but we've got to participate. It's not happening fast enough. There was too much political rap happening back in the day. You had Arrested Development. You had KRS-One. You had so many others. So many others who were telling a story. Now we all know that it wasn't just with the rap music. It was period. I might talk about that a little later as well. But our folk used to tell a story with their music. They used to tell a story with their rap too. But someone decided that they were going to change this thing to gangster rap. I want y'all to listen to the secret meeting. The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation and Black families. And we are still seeing the effects of it today. Yes, we are. Once they infiltrated our music, they infiltrated our families, y'all. Once they infiltrated the minds of our young people, they infiltrated our communities and our families. They didn't want no more talk about loving each other. They didn't want no talk about fighting the power, stuff like that. They said, we got to silence that noise. We need to get some money out of this. And so there were some meetings where they sat down, they put their heads together, they said, we gonna have a meeting on how to destroy these people. I want y'all to take a listen at what I'm talking about. Enough of me talking right now. Of course, I'm going to be back at the end of this, but I want you all to take a listen at exactly what took place. Of course, people like to deny that these things happen. They like to say, well, you don't know if that happened. Oh, we can see the results of it, right? We can see the results, even in the movie industry. It's not by mistake that there was always, back in the 70s especially, black women being portrayed as, 304s. Black men being portrayed as imps. All of that was very intentional sabotage. Take a listen at this, family, and of course, I will be right back.
The secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Hello, after more than 20 years, I've finally decided to tell the world what I witnessed in 1991, which I believe was one of the biggest turning points in popular music and ultimately American society. I have struggled for a long time weighing the pros and cons of making this story public, as I was reluctant to implicate the individuals who were present that day. So I've simply decided to leave out names and all the details that may risk my personal well-being and that of those who were, like me, dragged into something they weren't ready for. Between the late 80s and early 90s, I was what you may call a decision maker with one of the more established companies in the music industry. I came from Europe in the early 80s and quickly established myself in the business. The industry was different back then. Since technology and media weren't accessible to people like they are today, the industry had more control over the public and had the means to influence them any way it wanted. This may explain why in early 1991, I was invited to attend a closed-door meeting with a small group of music business insiders to discuss rap music's new direction. Little did I know that we would be asked to participate in one of the most unethical and destructive business practices I've ever seen. The meeting was held at a private residence on the outskirts of Los Angeles. I remember about 25 to 30 people being there, most of them familiar faces. Speaking to those I knew, we joked about the theme of the meeting, as many of us did not care for rap music and failed to see the purpose of being invited to a private gathering to discuss its future. Among the attendees was a small group of unfamiliar faces who stayed to themselves and made no attempt to socialize beyond their circle. Based on their behavior and formal appearances, they didn't seem to be in our industry. Our casual chatter was interrupted when we were asked to sign a confidentiality agreement preventing us from publicly discussing the information presented during the meeting. Needless to say, this intrigued and in some cases disturbed many of us. The agreement was only a page long but very clear on the matter and consequences, which stated that violating the terms would result in job termination. We asked several people what this meeting was about and the reason for such secrecy, but couldn't find anyone who had answers for us. A few people refused to sign and walked out. No one stopped them. I was tempted to follow, but curiosity got the best of me. A man who was part of the unfamiliar group collected the agreements from us. Quickly after the meeting began, one of my industry colleagues, who shall remain nameless like everyone else, thanked us for attending. He then gave the floor to a man who only introduced himself by first name and gave no further details about his personal background. I think he was the owner of the residence, but it was never confirmed. He briefly praised all of us for the success we had achieved in our industry and congratulated us for being selected as part of this small group of decision makers. At this point, I began to feel slightly uncomfortable at the strangeness of this gathering. The subject quickly changed as the speaker went on to tell us that the respective companies we represented had invested in a very profitable industry which could become even more rewarding with our active involvement. He explained that the companies we work for had invested millions into the building of privately owned prisons, and that our positions of influence in the music industry would actually impact the profitability of these investments. I remember many of us in the group immediately looking at each other in confusion. At the time, I didn't know what a private prison was, but I wasn't the only one. Sure enough, someone asked what these prisons were and what any of this had to do with us. We were told that these prisons were built by privately owned companies that received funding from the government based on the number of inmates. The more inmates, the more money the government would pay these prisons. It was also made clear to us that since these prisons are privately owned, as they become publicly traded, we'd be able to buy shares. Most of us were taken aback by this. Again, a couple of people asked what this had to do with us. At this point, my industry colleague who had first opened the meeting took the floor again and answered our questions. He told us that since our employers had become silent investors in this prison business, it was now in their interest to make sure that these prisons remain filled. Our job would be to help make this happen by marketing music that promotes criminal behavior, rap being the music of choice. He assured us that this would be a great situation for us because rap music was becoming an increasingly profitable market for our companies, and as employees, we'd also be able to buy personal stocks in these prisons. Immediately, silence came over the room. You could have heard a pin drop. I remember looking around to make sure I wasn't dreaming and saw half of the people with dropped jaws. My daze was interrupted when someone shouted, "Is this an effing joke?" At this point things became chaotic. Two of the men who were part of the unfamiliar group grabbed the man who shouted out and attempted to remove him from the house. A few of us, myself included, tried to intervene. One of them pulled out a gun and we all backed off. They separated us from the crowd and all four of us were escorted outside. My industry colleague who had opened the meeting earlier hurried out to meet us and reminded us that we had signed an agreement and would suffer the consequences of speaking about this publicly or even with those who attended the meeting. I asked him why he was involved with something this corrupt, and he replied that it was bigger than the music business and nothing we'd want to challenge without risking consequences. We all protested, and as he walked back into the house I remember word for word the last thing he said, "It's out of my hands now. Remember, you signed an agreement." He then closed the door behind him. The men rushed us to our cars and actually watched until we drove off. A million things were going through my mind as I drove away, and I eventually decided to pull over and park on a side street in order to collect my thoughts. I replayed everything in my mind repeatedly, and it all seemed very surreal to me. I was angry with myself for not having taken a more active role in questioning what had been presented to us. I'd like to believe the shock of it all is what suspended my better nature. After what seemed like an eternity, I was able to calm myself enough to make it home. I didn't talk or call anyone that night. The next day back at the office, I was visibly out of it but blamed it on being under the weather. No one else in my department had been invited to the meeting and I felt a sense of guilt for not being able to share what I had witnessed. I thought about contacting the 3 others who were kicked out of the house, but I didn't remember their names and thought that tracking them down would probably bring unwanted attention. I considered speaking out publicly at the risk of losing my job, but I realized I'd probably be jeopardizing more than my job and I wasn't willing to risk anything happening to my family. I thought about those men with guns and wondered who they were. I had been told that this was bigger than the music business and all I could do was let my imagination run free. There were no answers and no one to talk to. I tried to do a little bit of research on private prisons but didn't uncover anything about the music business involvement. However, the information I did find confirmed how dangerous this prison business really was. Days turned into weeks and weeks into months. Eventually, it was as if the meeting had never taken place. It all seemed surreal. I became more reclusive and stopped going to any industry events unless professionally obligated to do so. On 2 occasions, I found myself attending the same function as my former colleague. Both times, our eyes met but nothing more was exchanged. As the months passed, rap music had definitely changed direction. I was never a fan of it, but even I could tell the difference. rap acts that talked about politics or harmless fun were quickly fading away as gangster rap started dominating the airwaves. Only a few months had passed since the meeting, but I suspect that the ideas presented that day had been successfully implemented. It was as if the order had been given to all major label executives. The music was climbing the charts and most companies were more than happy to capitalize on it. Each one was churning out their very own gangster rap acts on an assembly line. Everyone bought into it, consumers included. Violence and drug use became a central theme in most rap music. I spoke to a few of my peers in the industry to get their opinions on the new trend, but was told repeatedly that it was all about supply and demand. Sadly, many of them even expressed that the music reinforced their prejudice of minorities. I officially quit the music business in 1993, but my heart had already left months before. I broke ties with the majority of my peers and removed myself from this thing I had once loved. I took some time off, returned to Europe for a few years, settled out of state, and lived a quiet life away from the world of entertainment. As the years passed, I managed to keep my secret, fearful of sharing it with the wrong person, but also a little ashamed of not having had the balls to blow the whistle. But as rap got worse, my guilt grew. Fortunately, in the late 90s, having the internet as a resource which wasn't at my disposal in the early days made it easier for me to investigate what is now labeled the prison industrial complex. Now that I have a greater understanding of how private prisons operate, things make much more sense than they ever have. I see how the criminalization of rap music played a big part in promoting racial stereotypes and misguided so many impressionable young minds into adopting these glorified criminal behaviors which often lead to incarceration. 20 years of guilt is a heavy load to carry, but the least I can do now is to share my story, hoping that fans of rap music realize how they've been used for the past 2 decades. Although I plan on remaining anonymous for obvious reasons, my goal now is to get this information out to as many people as possible. Please help me spread the word. Hopefully, others who attended the meeting back in 1991 will be inspired by this and tell their own stories. Most importantly, if only one life has been touched by my story, I pray it makes the weight of my guilt a little more tolerable. Thank you.
Okay, y'all, that's some heavy stuff right there, right? That's some very heavy stuff. Brother Maurice in the chat, he said something. He hit it right on the head. He said, they used us against us. Someone else said that some of the rappers denied being a part of that meeting. Of course. Think about this for a moment. Back then, they were the tools being used. It sounded as if this meeting were the elite, the deep pocket folk who were using people like that back then to get a change in the genre. Okay, notice how the guy mentioned that many of the rappers before gangster rap came out were talking about political things, things that were more fun, Arrested Development, in West Philadelphia, born and raised on the playground is where, stuff like that, right? It was a little more innocent back then. And so this whole thing about changing the direction, that was a bunch of talking heads, executives, deep pocket folk, white folk. Okay. More specifically, some people say, those people who have who have taken the identity of some folk, right? There are those who say that those are the people who were behind this because they wanted to change the narrative in the black community. Are y'all with me? Right? So this person is saying that he was a part of that meeting. Notice he said he went back to Europe because he couldn't even deal with the intentional sabotage of people, all for the love of money, all for the sake of money. Wow. So, someone says that Arrested Development came after the introduction of the gangster rap. Well, that may be so, but they were trying to enforce something different, because rap before gangster rap was definitely different. It was a different kind of flavor and tune. And I don't know which came first, but I know gangster rap came after. I don't know if Arrested Development came before or after gangster rap. I do know that there were those who were pushing a more positive thing, more political message, and things that were kind of like, I think about Marvin Gaye when he's saying, make you want to holler, throw up both my hands, right? He was talking about what was going on in the hood. He was talking about the wars, right? And then even the song, What's Going On? Hey, what's going on? Those songs back then were telling the story. But you have this rap music that hit the scene that at one time wasn't so bad. But the industry said, okay, we see what's going on. These folk love rap music. We sitting back, we watching. They making this music. They love it. They spending a lot of money. We got to get into that. We need some of that money. But we can't have them continuing to push the messages that they're pushing. They are speaking messages that have them thinking about politics. They're saying stuff like, fight the power. We don't need them making that kind of music. So we got to have a meeting. And we got to talk to some of these rappers who won't mind changing their tune and their lyrics a little bit, who don't mind selling their people out. So they pull some folk in. They say, hey, here's some money. Here's a lot of money. I need you to change those lyrics. Talk about your problems. Talk about what's going on in the black community. We done already dropped the crack bomb. You know, we already infiltrated your communities with this. Of course, they didn't say that to the people, right? But we know it happened. How many of y'all know that some of the elite are responsible for circulating crack in the black community? Yes. Yes. So after they did that, they said we need some music to match. Now that we see that some of their people are strung out on this stuff that we released into their communities, now that we know this has happened, now we need you all to rap about it. Now that we know that some of your women are starting to act a certain way because, y'all putting them in the music videos. As a matter of fact, that was by request too. Hey, why don't y'all put some women scantily dressed in your music videos? That'll sell your music. You have these alphabet groups, these alphabet organizations, gov organizations. Thank you all. To No One Has to Know in the chat. Put a couple of alphabet organizations in the chat there. They knew exactly what they were doing. Folk have been studying us for decades. Y'all remember there was a video put out decades ago where they were saying how these alphabet gov institutions studied us. What we like to buy, what we like to eat, what we like to listen to. And they said we got to infiltrate that stuff. We got to stop them. We got to stop them from singing love songs to each other. Brother James, that's right. You're absolutely right. Rap did not start out like this. That's what we're actually talking about. The report that I played at the beginning of this broadcast actually said that. Rap started off more innocent. Even the person in the report was saying that. It actually changed later. The industry, they had that meeting, and they are the ones who pushed the change of rap music. They wanted that gangster rap music. They wanted things that were going to uproot and dismantle a generation of black folk and families, and something that was going to go on and on and on until the bottom fell out. And it was also that they can put money in their pockets. It was all so they could have something else they can invest in. They needed someone to fill up these private prisons. They needed something for their people to invest in. That's right, Lamp of Oil. They created these battles, West Coast, East Coast. They came out with these movies. Thank you, Ceylon. They came out with New Jack City, Boys in the Hood, all of this stuff. It just, Sugar Hill Gang. Okay, listen, y'all. Someone said Sugar Hill Gang was fun. Okay, so this is what happened. They used all of this stuff to fund all kinds of industries. Once they changed the tone and the feel of rap music to gangster rap, they then started to put out these movies, Boys in the Hood. What were some of the other ones, y'all? Yeah, I like that movie. They cloned Tyrone. That one was it. That was a trip, y'all. But Boys in the Hood, Menace to Society, New Jack City, and so many others. They put these movies out there, right? Based on the new environment being created by the gangster rap. Colors, that's right. I forgot about Colors. Poetic Justice, Baby Boy, Straight Outta Compton, Blue Hill Avenue. Exactly. They put all of this stuff out there. They put all of this stuff out there. South Central. Yep. Juice. I mean, one after the other. Back to back to back to back. Back to back to back to back. Because they needed a way to push the music. And they said, you know what? That's going to put money in our pockets already. The music is going to do the destruction. So then after that, we're going to start filling up our prisons. Right? After we start filling up our prisons, we got something else for folk to invest in. So then they got into the movies. All of these movies, they were making money with that. The movies, the music, the prisons. And let me tell y'all something more recently that I've been seeing that it just upsets me so bad. Have some of y'all seen the popcorn or the chips or the snacks with Snoop Dogg and all of their faces on it? Rap chips. It's like, give me a break. Are we serious now? Rap chips. Hip hop popcorn. Cereal with rap icons on it. It's like I gotta say this, y'all. I gotta say this. Listen, y'all. Folks studied us. They studied us. If we were smart as a people, those rap chips, those hip hop popcorn, and Boys in the gangster rap cereal, if we were smart as a people, that stuff would sit on the shelves and rot. But instead, they know how simple-minded many of our people are. I'm going to say something that many of you may find offensive. But this is what the Bible says. The Bible says, my people are stupid. To do that which is good, they don't know how to do that. But to do that which is evil, they do that very well. Very well. That's right. Nicki Minaj potato chips. Y'all seen that stuff? Sottish is what the Most High calls his people. Sottish means stupid, y'all. But they knew that our people will see that stuff on. Hey man, I'm gonna get me a bag of those chips, man. These chips. They know. They know. I'm sorry, family. Sometimes you have to keep it as real as you can get it. I remember when I first started seeing that stuff on the shelves, I was so upset. I started buffering, y'all, before I coined that phrase about buffering, or that term. I said to myself, oh my goodness, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They knew that our people will see that. Now, see, most of our people don't even put two and two together. They see one of their favorite rap icons with their face plastered on a box of cereal, a bag of chips, or some drink, right? They don't even realize that most of these people don't even own the companies. They just give them a little royalty, right? They give them a little percentage. But you know, the biggest part of that is going to be made. It's not going to be made by them. Now, I was disappointed that Snoop Dogg and a group of them are trying to get some stuff out there. I was disappointed in that. But see, they already in the game. They already making their money. They don't even care. As a matter of fact, somebody questioned them even putting out products. They actually, someone put out a video, and it was shared with me, where they were saying, look, these ingredients that's in these chips that Dog and them are upset that they were having problems getting it into some of the stores. Huh? Why are you even selling this to the black community? Let me tell you why. The same reason why they didn't mind selling their garbage music in the black community. Do you think these rap icons care that their music has destroyed the minds of so many young people in the black community? Do you think they care? Thank you, Yashai, for the super chat. I appreciate it, beloved. They don't care. When I heard that many of these people don't even allow their own children to listen to this stuff, to watch movies or any of this, many of their kids are smart, intelligent college students, college grads. That to me was even more insulting. The fact that they didn't mind being a part of the destruction of the black family and the black community and the generations that came up after them. They didn't mind being a part of that because their pockets were filled. One thing that just really bothered me, and some of you all, I remember when this was happening, some of you all didn't get it, you didn't understand because you don't like Gayle and you don't like Oprah. But when Snoop Dogg disrespected Gayle King the way he did because of something she said about Kobe Bryant, the way he talked about her was horrendous. It was terrible. It was disrespectful. Especially he's parading around town like Martha Stewart is his best friend. Those of you who didn't see the shame in that, shame on you. I'm sorry. It doesn't matter how you feel about Oprah or Gayle King. The way he disrespected that black woman because of something she said concerning Kobe Bryant, in which a lot of our people don't even want to own up to the fact that Kobe Bryant moved in white circles. Okay? Yes, he did. He moved in white circles. He didn't even marry black. A lot of people didn't even know that he was engaged to a black woman before she didn't even know that they were broken up. She just found out on television that he married this white woman and that they were, she was like, I didn't know we were broken up. Thank you, Brother Michael, for the super chat. I appreciate it. So he moved in white circles, dissed his black queen for somebody else. And so the fact that, that's right, Monster Crowley say he died with white folk. You know, it's really sad, y'all. I remember it happened. I cried about it because, you know, I'm a very sensitive person. When a person passes away like that so tragically, that's a normal thing for me. I was saddened by it. But he moved in white circles. And so for everybody to get so angry and upset that Gayle King brought up something that did happen, he got himself into that trouble with that one white woman years ago where she was able to lie on him. It eventually went away. But if he didn't go to her hotel room to her hotel room in the first place, he would have never got caught up in that. So I remember that Tanya 3000 pointed out that Kobe Bryant talked bad about Trayvon Martin. I remember that as well, and I was really, really bothered by that. I was bothered by it. Why even go there? It's better to just be quiet, you know? Especially, I mean, I know people personally, black folk. Let me tell y'all something. Since you brought it up about the Trayvon Martin family, I know black people personally. Very close black folk. If you hear this, I'm sorry, beloved. I'm sorry. I got to talk about it. I'm not saying nobody's name, but I was very bothered. Thank you, Carol, for the super chat. I appreciate it. But let me tell y'all something. We know black folk personally who blamed Trayvon Martin for his own death. I was saying to myself, oh my goodness, are we really hearing this? You mean to tell me that you as a black person, believe that he was responsible for his own death? I'm sorry, me and my husband had a hard time with that one. But yeah, for Kobe Bryant to be so insensitive, that was terrible. Oneida says his wife was Mexican. His wife was a white Mexican. Okay, you have black Mexicans and you have white Mexicans. A lot of people try to say that Mexican thing. They did the same thing with George Zimmerman to try to say that it wasn't a white on black thing. But these people move in white circles. You know that their lives are white. That's right. Angel in the chat says Kobe didn't even honor his mother and father. I remember that as well. Oh my goodness. Thank you, Brother Will, for the super chat. I appreciate it. I appreciate everyone. Thank you. Thank you all. It is very much appreciated. But, the truth is what it is. The truth is what it is, y'all. And so, again, back to what the whole reason why Kobe came up is because, of the disrespect that Snoop Dogg had for Gayle King. But it ain't no way he would have ever uttered those words against Martha Stewart. Put a number 1 in the chat if you believe Snoop Dogg would ever say anything like that to Martha Stewart. Put a number 1 if you think he would ever do that. Nope. Yep, that's right. He said Martha Stewart is his best friend. Snoop Dogg would never do that to Martha Stewart because he said, those of you who put number 1 in there, maybe you misunderstood my question. Sister Ray said never won. Exactly. Yeah. He wouldn't have do some of you. Snoop Dogg would never say that to Martha Stewart. Because he loves that woman. He loves it. He loves her, should I say. That's right, Kim. She had his face tattooed on her arm. They've had a number of pictures all hugged up together. You know what I'm saying? Woo! So you have to understand, I know y'all fans. Some of y'all are fans of these people. But you got to understand that there is more than one way of selling out. They didn't just sell out for money. They sold the black community out because they did not care how your son, your daughter, your family would be affected by the music they put out. A lot of families are still ripped and torn apart. You know how? Because it was a ripple effect. After the music was put out there, families were destroyed. Y'all know some folk went to prison, right? There were young men who actually said that after listening to some of this ride or die music, that they were so pumped up, that they were so programmed mentally, that they could go out, drive around the block listening to that music for 20 minutes and come back and take the lives of their own mother. Did y'all know some young folk actually said that? So that lets you know that there was a demonic input into that music. And that demonic input influenced so many young people's minds to where they actually did turn cold as ice towards their families. That's right, to the person who put music equals meditation. Exactly. Music equals meditation. Yeah. Listening to that stuff over and over and over and over and over, you start to program your mind to think that black lives are disposable. This is why, notice there was an upkick, y'all, an uptick in young black men pulling the trigger on other young black men. Huh? It got to the point where they would look at their homies like enemies. Think about the testimony from Brother Dominic. Brother Dominic, he said that the gang he was a part of, he thought they were family. He thought they treated him like family. He thought they loved him like family. But guess what? They put a hit out on him. Y'all remember the testimony from Brother Dominic, who was shot, and then he said he died and went to hell? If you haven't seen that testimony, please check it out. It will change your life. May even save your life. But it was his homies who put a hit out on him and sent somebody after him to take his life. Because of this demonic, wicked stuff. This demonic, wicked stuff that has been put out here. Now, I got to talk about the other side of this, y'all. I have to talk about the other side because there is more than just one side to all of this. Why was this able to happen? Why is this able to happen? Why is this happening? Because our people are becoming so spiritually detached. They're becoming so spiritually detached that it's easier for demons, principalities, powers of darkness, wickedness to control their lives. Because they don't have that spiritual guard in place. They don't have on the armor of the Most High. Because they don't have it on, they are easily infiltrated and manipulated by dark forces. Thank you, Sister Ray. They have no fear of the Most High. Thank you, Queen. They are empty vessels. Thank you, Kim Yala. They are worldly. Thank you, Brother Jeremiah. People have given up on the Most High. A lot of our people have become so detached from the truth, from righteousness, from the Most High, from spirituality, to where these demons are able to get in there, sit up in there, take hold, and destroy. There's a song. Listen, I want to try to get this song. I really wish I can play it here on the broadcast. As a matter of fact, I might try to play it. I hope they don't end my broadcast, but I want to try to play this. I want y'all to hear this. This song is very interesting, okay? I might just play a few seconds of it. Okay? But y'all need to hear this. I know I can drop the link, but I want y'all to hear this. This song, the brother is doing his thing on this song. But also, if you listen to the lyrics of what this brother is doing, I'm telling you, folk need to listen to this. When you let these spirits get all on your back, you need to just put this song on for a moment. Just give me a minute. I'm getting it for y'all here. Okay, I'm getting it for you. Again, hopefully YouTube won't end my broadcast for playing this. But I want to play this, and I want y'all to take a listen. And just give me one moment. It's coming. Take a listen at this song, and then, of course, tell me what you think. And, of course, I'll be right back after playing the song, provided they don't end my live broadcast here. But anyway, here you go. Okay, so I gave y'all 30 seconds of it. I gave y'all 30 seconds because I remember before we were trying to play some of these and they ended the live. But anyway, I want you all to go take a listen at that song. I'm telling y'all, that song is something else. That song is something else. It is something else. And that brother, he was singing that thing. Okay, he was singing it. I'm about to drop the live in here. I'm sorry, not the live, but the. There it is, right there. Y'all can go take a listen at it. Okay. Brother Raphael's asking, is Brother Neil Robertson is like, don't let the devil ride, because if you let him ride, he's gonna want to drive. Don't let him ride. Then he said, don't do it, don't do it, don't do it. Y'all, he jams on that song. Don't let the devil ride. Y'all get a chance. Y'all get a chance, check it out. Okay. Whenever any of my children call themselves trying to cop an attitude, I play that song for them. I say, don't let the devil ride, because if you let him ride, he gonna want to drive. Don't let him ride. Anyway, family, this was some very, very intentional sabotage of the black community. Very intentional. Don't like it one bit. Don't like it one bit. But the truth is what it is. Those of you who came and watched this thing not from the beginning, this video, I want you to go back, listen to that testimony of the guy talking about the secret meeting that changed rap music and destroyed a generation. Okay? I want y'all to listen to that. He is giving the details of why they did it. And y'all know who got rich off of it. Of course, the rappers got rich off of it. But also keep in mind that those deep pocket, non-melanated folk, this was yet another way that they got into the black community and did what? Enriched themselves off of our suffering and the destruction of the black family. Thank you all for your time. Thank you for your time. I appreciate it. Thanks to everyone who donated in the super chat. I appreciate you as well. Thank you to all of our moderators for keeping everything tight. Okay. Yeah, the Williams brothers, Brother James. I love all of those groups, the Williams brothers, the Mighty Clouds of Joy. I love all of those old songs. Some of you know about that music, some of you don't, but hey, they definitely had a message as well. Anyway, thank you all for your time. Until the next live or the next video, stay prayed up, family. I love you all and enjoy the rest of your day. We hope you liked today's topic. Please leave your comments below. If you haven't already, subscribe to the channel, share it like this video, and with that, we're out. Be sure to ring the bell to be notified of new uploads on this channel, and also comment, share, like, and subscribe.